Hello, and a very pleasant Thursday afternoon to everyone. I'm Rebekah Mosley, the co founder of Laughing Place, and this is Star Wars Headlines. And I'm here with our editorial director for Star Wars content right here, Mike Celestino. Hey, Mike.
Hello.
Oh, Thursday. I am so happy it's Thursday. I wish it was Friday, but it's Thursday.
Yeah.
Um, we've got a lot of Star Wars headlines this week. And as always, we're live. So if you have any comments or questions about the world of Star Wars, go ahead. You can toss them in the chat as we discuss what's been going on in the Star Wars universe. We're starting off with my current addiction, Mike. And that is the Skywalker Saga Lego game. Oh man, I've been waiting way too long for this game. It is definitely not disappointing.
Oh, great. I'm glad it lived up to your expectations and was worth the wait.
It took me a little while to learn that I could do screenshots because I am not a gamer. But some of what, okay, if you're not a gamer and you love Star Wars, I would recommend this game because it is not hard to play. It doesn't require you can make it complicated in that there's like all these little tasks and stuff that can make your character stronger. You can build skills and stuff like that. But for me, I'm just playing straight through, not doing a lot of side stuff right now. So this is Takodana. And there you can see the beautiful Maz Kanata's castle. There's this little protocol droid whose name is H1NT. See, it looks like Hint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can chat with this droid to learn little hints along the way. Um, the visuals are just amazing. And one of the things that I'm really enjoying about it, Mike, is that not only do you have the usual like storyline, where you're kind of, you got certain tasks you need to do along the way, but they give you a lot of freedom to just explore. So this was just where I was flying the Falcon over Takodana, and I could like encounter, see this, you can see the red dot there. If you followed that arrow, then you ended up finding a ship and you
Oh,
could interact with that ship. Or maybe it would be a meteor thing with a brick inside. And so once you blasted it, you would get that brick. And those
okay.
were totally independent of the story. So really, really enjoying it. Lots and lots of great visuals. But see, I played it just for a day, for part of a day, off and on throughout the day, Mike. And in completing chapter 1 from beginning to end, which for me, I went with The Force Awakens, I only completed 42% of all of the various activities that are available within that chapter. And now I can move on to the next story, which would be The Last Jedi in that one. But it's not, it, like I say, they give you a lot of opportunity for free play and exploration. A lot of fun.
Which console are you playing this on?
I am on the Switch.
Okay.
So, and then these are just some of the characters that are available to me just even now in my beginner mode. So I have I bought the deluxe edition, so it came with some of the additional packs. So I have Grief over there. Help me out. The guy from
Grief Karga?
Mandalorian. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And then Quill as well, along with Chewie and BB-8. And because I pre-ordered, I have an old Ben Kenobi figure. One of the parts that made me chuckle is that as you encounter civilians on planets, as an example, this Rhodian, they many times will speak in their dialect, and it will have subtitles that are reflective of their dialect. If I had my protocol droid, then my protocol droid could translate for me,
Oh,
but I did not in this particular moment have it. So for me, this is very much just diving into that world of Star Wars and just exploring. I'm having so much fun just wandering the planets and everything, in addition to the usual gaming stuff. But I'm bad. I'm a very bad gamer. So I'm grateful that the fact that I have no eye-hand coordination is not getting in the way of me still having a good time.
so I'm kind of curious when you go to like Tatooine and different. Well, obviously there's Mos Espa and Mos Eisley, but let's say you go to Mos Espa in the Phantom Menace, and then you go back there in Attack of the Clones. Is it the same layout but different stuff going on, or what?
I haven't explored a planet that is within like different. I haven't done like Tatooine in one era versus another era, but I have the impression that there are those kinds of opportunities available, because when you fly to the planet, it shows you various locations, and I'm suspecting that some of those locations will be kind of within a different time moment of the story versus others. So yeah, but I haven't myself, because I have only done the Force Awakens, so it unlocked the planets that were related to that story: Jakku, Takodana, Ahch-To, and one other, the Rebel planet.
I think that's called Dakar.
Yeah, and so those are the ones that I unlocked, and then I just started. The way I decided I'm going to do it is I'm going to do chapter 1 of each of the trilogies, and then go back and do chapter 2 of each, and then go back and do chapter 3, to kind of, for me, keep a variety of storyline going, because I feel like it could, especially the prequel, could get rather repetitive in the experience of gameplay, because the story itself is rather repetitive. So right now, after I did Force Awakens, now I'm going and I'm in the Phantom Menace. And so just before this, I was helping Amidala. So yeah. So once we're done here, I'll go back to saving Amidala, and I was on Naboo and wandering the castle there. So that was fun. And I just helped with I actually had just completed the underwater portion where we're being chased by enormous giant fish. So that kind of fun was happening. So
There's
yeah,
always a bigger fish.
that was the line that was just said.
Yeah, I don't have this yet, but I'm probably gonna ask for it for my birthday or something later this year. But yeah, it seems like everybody's enjoying it. I'm glad it's getting good response.
And if you're not a gamer, there are so many channels out there that are doing full gameplay. I think IGN has a 10-hour. I think they're the ones with the 10-hour all 9-chapter story play video. So you can get a feel for any portion of it that you want. I am deliberately waiting to do the original trilogy as the third. So I'm going through the first chapter of the most recent, and then the prequels, and then the original. That's how I'm gonna keep doing it. So I can't wait for episode 4, because I am very eager for the Dianoga sequence.
Okay.
My understanding, he's the big boss.
Oh.
The Dianoga is the big boss of that particular element of the story. So I'm
fun.
like, ooh. So yeah, lots of fun. But you, on the other hand, are getting ready and pumped and excited, because Anaheim is going to be the home to Star Wars Celebration, and I know you're going to be there.
A mere month and a half from now, ish.
Can you
Star Wars Celebrate Corksicle? Yes, I get. Disney gave me one of these.
There you go.
Corksicle.
Tony loves Corksicles. He collects them.
I did not know what it was until I received one, and I was very confused by the name, and I was told it came from something they used to do with wine corks or something. I don't know. Anyway, Star Wars Celebration, Anaheim Convention Center, last weekend in May, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be pretty exciting. Lots of stuff announced. We know that there's going to be 2 big panels coming from the Disney Plus shows that have been announced. So I think one's just going to be the Mandalorian verse with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni talking about all that stuff. And then the other one's going to be all the other Disney Plus Star Wars stuff, like the Bad Batch and Ahsoka and maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi and Cassian Andor, just called Andor. What else are we expecting from there? The Acolyte.
I was going to say they've announced a few new additional celebrity appearances recently as well. So you've got Katie coming, Carl Weathers as well, Emily, known as the Armorer. So lots of additional celebrity announcements have been made in recent days as we gear up for the ever busy Memorial Day weekend, Mike, that just keeps getting more and more
Is that
added.
Memorial Day? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So much happening that day. The same, that weekend's also the beginning of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus, and then the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout down at Epcot in Walt Disney World. Not Star Wars related, but we'll be covering that as well. And then also at Disneyland, we'll see the return of Fantasmic, I think, that day, that weekend as well. So crazy weekend for us. Yeah.
And as I discovered, LEGO Masters is coming back to Fox.
Oh yeah. That's like the following Monday or something. Very excited for that. One of my favorite current shows. We don't really watch a lot of these reality competition shows, but LEGO Masters, I'm all about that show. Looking forward to that. And yeah, it's going to be a fun summer getting started around then. And the 45th anniversary of the original Star Wars film, May 25th. Not going to be the release of Obi-Wan anymore.
That just doesn't even seem possible. That's amazing. Oh man, 45 years. Okay. Now I feel old all of a sudden. This past weekend, you were at WonderCon in Anaheim, speaking of conventions, and you stumbled on quite a bit of cosplay. And oh, hey, that's not the right tweet. Let's see. Here it is.
Yeah, there weren't any big Star Wars panels really, but the stuff on the floor to see on the exhibit hall floor was really, really cool. So the 501st Legion was there. They had a booth. The droid builders had a booth. The Rebel Legion had a booth. The Mandalorian Mercs had a booth, and they were all like in the same little area. And you can go and hang out with them and look at all the droids. And then they had a big droid parade that they played, the Main Street Electrical Parade. I don't know if you have that video. That was fun.
Oh, let me see.
Hang
on.
That the Sith troopers and the other couple, Death Trooper or whatever, that was in the booth from the Sci-Fi Museum or the Horror History Museum. I think they had a shared booth together, so that's where that picture came from. And yeah, it's just a lot of Star Wars cosplay, both outside in front of the convention center and people hanging around, and then walking around inside. I would see a lot of different Star Wars related cosplay, and I tried to get a picture of all the best ones that I saw. My favorite ones, there's the droids. There's R2, a mouse droid, and a pit droid riding a little tricycle.
I'm not seeing the other one, Mike. I'm sorry.
That's fair. That's fine. Do you have the Mandalorian Moana cosplay?
Oh, wow. Let me see.
That was probably my favorite. There was a Mandalorian Moana and a Mandalorian something else that was like a mashup, and I'm blanking on what the other one was, but it was really, really good. But there's a picture out there somewhere on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not seeing either of those, but these are all tweets from April 1st, and I'll try and find those and include.
It might have been the next day. It might have been the second then.
Okay, and I'll try and include those in the links below, so that way you guys can see them too. So.
Oh yeah, there were Wallies, like working Wallies rolling around and waving at people, and lots of cool robots and droids, both from Star Wars and Disney and Pixar.
Tony noticed that Wally was among the images that were featured in your tweets. So, yep. Let's see, Mike. Recently, the Fan Fest had... the Hasbro Fan First Wednesday. Let's see, they announced a bunch of items on Wednesday, Mike.
Yeah, we got some new reveals from the Black Series and the Vintage Collection from Hasbro's Star Wars toy lines. The biggest one was the reveal of the Saw Gerrera. That's the one in the center there, played by Forrest Whitaker in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And this is in the Black Series Deluxe line, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Really, really nice looking figure. Boy, I can't wait to get my hands on that one. Love that character. Love the way this figure looks. It's so detailed. So many cool things going on in his costume and the hairstyle. I love that.
Yeah. No, really beautiful. Then they also had a few of the more traditional 3 3/4, and these are all the Figurine and the Saga. These are coming in spring 2023, but this one is anticipated a little later this year in just in the fall. So that'll
Yeah,
be
this is
coming.
a character that I'm actually not familiar with because I haven't played the Old Republic, the MMO RPG, but this is a character named Shay Vizsla from that video game.
And they had a few other video game pieces. For example, this land brightly colored, rather floral looking to me.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by this figure because they announced it as a Gaming Greats figure, which is a series that Hasbro does, and they're usually like GameStop exclusives, stuff like that. But I believe this is the outfit that Lando is wearing in the final scene of Solo: A Star Wars Story when Han wins the Millennium Falcon from him in the game of Sabacc. I believe this is the full outfit that he's wearing there. Why it wasn't just released as a Solo figure, maybe because that movie didn't do very well. They didn't want to put that name on the packaging anymore. But I guess this is a character you can also play in Battlefront 2. But it is clearly, Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian from the last scene of Solo, the Star Wars story. But it's labeled as Battlefront 2 in the Gaming Greats line. Clone Wars, ARC Trooper, Jesse. These are all 3 3/4 inch. The ones that we've last few that we looked at. The Saw Gerrera was a 6-inch Black Series.
And then a couple of the other 6-inch Mike that caught my eye as I was scrolling through the list, and we'll have a link below to that full write-up of the releases, was this Infinities, Darth Vader, and the Princess Leia Organa, and those are both 6-inch figures. This is really pretty.
Yes, I have read these Princess Leia comics where they got this look from, so I'm glad they made that. That might be something I'll pick up. The Vader one, I haven't read Infinities, but I think it's like an alternate history kind of a thing where Luke successfully turns Vader back to the light side. So he makes his costume, it just makes his armor white.
Yeah.
I know I'm always watching the comments during these live streams.
Yes.
And people were angry, not ours, but during the Hasbro live stream when they announced this. People are just angry that it's just a repaint. It's basically like Darth Vader, but with white paint instead of black paint.
Well, should there be noticeable differences in his armor? I mean, they can't help it if that's what happens in the story, I guess is my query.
Yeah, I think people would just prefer to get a new sculpt, like a different character with a new sculpt than a repaint of an existing. Because as they pointed out in the stream, this version of Darth Vader literally only appears in one panel of one comic book. That's an alternate universe. It's not even like canon. This is literally from one panel of one comic book. And yeah, it's just Darth Vader and he's white instead of black. So that's pretty deep cut.
Yeah.
But it's not, it doesn't cost Hasbro as much to make it because it's a sculpt that already exists.
Right.
They just paint it white instead of black. So who knows? I guess people are into collecting all the variants and stuff. That's not something that I would buy. I'll probably get the Leia, and there was another one from the publishing. Wasn't there? I forget, but
there may have been.
Yeah.
I can scroll real quick and look for you, but yeah, there. The other one was Sergeant Creel.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's in the Star Wars comics. There's a stormtrooper commander called Sergeant Creel who's got a lightsaber in the comic. So he's taken a dead Jedi's lightsaber and made it his own. So this is kind of a neat figure. It is cool that they're doing stuff like this from the canon comics. This is something that I would be interested in getting.
And then I'm assuming near the end of it, they also shared some pipeline reveals.
Yeah, so these are all from The Mandalorian coming to the vintage collection, 3 3/4 inch figures, the Klaatuinian Raider, the artillery stormtrooper there on Tython, Luke Skywalker from the second season finale of The Mandalorian, and the Dark Trooper from that same arc there at the end of season 2. And then for the 6-inch, Now they announced Grogu, who's been released in the 6-inch scale a bunch, actually. I don't know how this is. I guess because of the pram.
That would
Maybe
be
we
my
haven't
my
gotten
guess
that
is
before.
the pram is what's going to be
Yeah,
the big differentiation on it. But
I
I'm
don't
not.
think I have the pram in the 6-inch scale, so maybe that's what it is. And then Bill Burr's character Miggs Mayfeld, he's already been released in the Imperial tank driver uniform, but now they're going to put him out in his first season costume from the episode called The Prisoner. So I'm excited for that.
And moving into the world of publishing, and in this case, it's an audiobook. We've got Wedge's Gamble.
Yeah, so this is a book that came out in the 90s, part of the Rogue Squadron series. I remember reading those back then, a couple decades ago or more. But they just did a new, so this part of the Essential Legends collection from Del Rey, and they're doing a new audiobook, because I think the audiobook that came out originally was probably abridged. So they did a new unabridged audiobook read by Mark Thompson, who does a bunch of the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, Michael Stackpole is the author, as Mike Farnham pointed out. And I remember really liking these books. And they actually sent me a review copy of this audiobook, but I haven't had time to check it out yet. I'm going to probably consume that and write a review of it sometime soon.
And since we're being asked in the chat to show a Funko Pop, I'll go ahead and highlight this Make-A-Wish collection in this nice metallic blue. This is a campaign going on between Funko. They're calling it Pops with Purpose. And you'll see among the metallic blue Make-A-Wish specific items, we do have representation from the world of Star Wars. We've got BB-8, and we have a Funko Stormtrooper. So these are available in various locations. The Stormtrooper is specifically GameStop, and you'll notice that base, it does say Make-A-Wish on it, and a portion, the way they're doing this is there's a designated amount that they'll be donating to Make-A-Wish on behalf of Funko. So you can check out the details of that Make-A-Wish Pops with Purchase program. But see, you asked for it in the chat, and we'll give it to you.
Oh, bounty hunters. It's so funny. The last issue of this came out literally a week ago. We talked about that last week, and then this week there was another new one, number 22. I actually like this one quite a bit more. The action was more exciting. I like the illustrations more, and it just felt like, oh, they're actually having some forward momentum in this story, because they captured the villain, General Verkura is her name. And they're trying to find this girl, this young girl, who's the heir to two different crime syndicates. One's called the Mourner's Wail, and one is called the Unbroken Clan. So they're on Corellia right now. There's this big battle scene between the bounty hunter characters, who are kind of the anti-heroes of this comic book right now, and they're fighting the Unbroken Clan gang members. And then we also get like a cutaway to where this young girl, Catalaya, is being held by Kira, Lady Kira, who's in charge of the Crimson Dawn crime syndicate right now. So she's captured this star-crossed heir to the two crime syndicates. So that's who the bounty hunters are trying to track down. And it's pretty interesting. I think it's all kind of coming to a head. So I'm glad that we're hopefully getting a resolution to this storyline that, like I said, has literally been going since issue number 1 of Bounty Hunters. So 22 issues of Catalaya's story so far, but I think it's going to be wrapping up soon, hopefully. Mike asked if Dark Horse is publishing this series. No, this is a Marvel Comics title. But yeah, it's been Bounty Hunters is probably my least favorite of the current ongoing Marvel Star Wars titles, but there have been periods where I was into it more than others. Right now, it's kind of so-so.
And these are becoming available slowly on the Marvel Unlimited app. So if you're somebody who reads Marvel through that app, these Star Wars titles are beginning to migrate over there, as you know, they wait. I forget how long the window is. It varies among titles before those then move into the Unlimited. If you have a Cosmicology app through Kindle, similarly, these titles are beginning to be made available there. The ones that Mike's been reviewing that have been in comic book stores lately, like the High Republic series, the Crimson Reign arc of Bounty Hunters. So if you now want to catch up, you can check those apps and you will find the comics available to you. This next one, I am unfamiliar with the Willow series. I know you were excited about it. We've learned a little bit of casting news.
Yeah, so Willow obviously is a movie that came out when I was a kid in the mid 80s that I liked when I saw it in theaters back then. I've watched it again recently. I think it holds up pretty well. It's a fun adventure movie with Warwick Davis and Val Kilmer, and it's got a lot of action. It's kind of a Lord of the Rings type medieval fantasy film from Lucasfilm in the 80s, and now they're doing a sequel series. Warwick Davis is coming back. But then we did get another casting news from British actress. What's the name there?
So it's British actress Talisa Garcia has been cast in Willow, and this is making headlines because it is a historic casting in that it is the first known openly trans actor being cast within a Lucasfilm production. And so we've, like I say, Deadline reported this, and we are sharing the news. My understanding is it's a small speaking role, may only be a single episode, but Talisa, I am going to say Talisa Garcia. That's how phonetically I would go with the name, and I've not heard it. So she is joining the cast of Disney Plus Willow.
Cool. And Mike asked if Val Kilmer is coming back. Unfortunately, Val Kilmer, I think he had throat cancer and can't speak anymore. So yeah, it's it's a really sad story. There's actually a documentary that I've been meaning to watch that he made himself about his life. But I know it ends with his story about having cancer and stuff. So it's a tragic story, and I feel terrible because I always enjoyed his performances growing up and stuff. But I doubt he's going to be in the series. If he is, he won't have a speaking role as a Mad Mardigan again. But a sad story there with Val Kilmer.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
We're beginning. I wonder. It's one of those things where, as actors are staying more dynamic as they age, we're encountering more and more of that within our celeb. My thought is Kirk Douglas with some of the performances he did after his stroke or these types of things. I feel like in previous generations they kind of would tend to just kind of fade into the sunset, so to speak, and now we're still seeing many of these celebrities perform even through challenging aging diagnosis. Bruce Willis comes to mind. I think there are some who are kind of pulling back on maybe some of the aggressive criticism that they had been placing upon his roles in recent years, now knowing what he was struggling and working his way through. So it's a kind of a changing dynamic to the movie-going experience. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go to something completely trivial and lots of fun. And I actually checked out a little video of this because this is passionate for you, Mike, the return to Monkey Island coming.
I will honestly say, when I saw this news, it made me happier than I have been in a very long time, because I grew up on a series of computer games from LucasArts in the 90s. It was called Lucasfilm Games before that. Now they have returned to being called Lucasfilm Games. So they stopped making these adventure games probably around the turn of the century, around 2000. But there's this Monkey Island series. There's this Sam and Max Hit the Road. There's Grim Fandango, the Maniac Mansion series, Full Throttle. All these games. The Dig was another one. I love them all, and I would sit in my room hunched over my computer and play these games for hours and hours and hours. And you can get a lot of these now if you go looking around on Steam. There's a couple Indiana Jones ones. There's Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade, but Fate of Atlantis is the best Indiana Jones one. But hunt these down. Go look up, LucasArts adventure games, and then they stopped making them all of a sudden. I think they weren't profitable after a while, and they stopped making them. But now, it's 20 years after that, after they stopped, and they're finally getting back into making at least one of these Monkey Island games. We're going to get from the original creator. Ron Gilbert is coming back to make this game. The voice actors are going to be the same as in the old games, which is fantastic. I'm so excited. It makes me want to go back and replay all the old games. Like I said, you can get Monkey Island, the first few, on PlayStation or Steam or wherever you download your PC games or video games. And I really can't wait to get this new. I don't even know what number it is, because they did I remember 3 games in the 90s that came out. Then there was a 4th one that came out when I was in college. And then they've done they did an episodic one called, I don't even remember what the title was. But that was Telltale Games. So they licensed it from Lucasfilm, because Lucasfilm didn't even want to make them anymore. I think that was 2009. That was the last Monkey Island anything that we got. So super psyched. And they said this is coming out before the end of the year. And it's Lucasfilm, so I feel like we're okay to talk about it on this show. And I will definitely be covering it on my podcast. I really want to actually interview somebody from, hopefully, Ron Gilbert. I would really love to interview Ron Gilbert about Monkey Island, the whole series and the new game, because I'm super psyched for it.
And you're not alone in being super psyched. I mean, the tweet has 2.3 million views, so it's a very popular franchise that people are excited to see return. I watched a little video. There's gameplay. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I am not a gamer. So most of my gaming knowledge comes from watching other people play on YouTube or Twitch. And there is a complete Monkey Island walkthrough gaming experience if you want to get a feel for Monkey Island before Return to Monkey Island. But it's like a pirate adventure, and is it kind of a choose? It's like an immersive story. Like you're this character and you encounter people and you ask them questions, and then you have to do this thing. I mean, that right? It's that kind of thing.
Yes, Monkey Island as a franchise was heavily inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction at Disneyland. There's a lot of references to that. In fact, so much so that there's this whole rumor. I don't know where this got started, but there's this rumor that there was going to be a Monkey Island movie at some point, and the screenwriters who wrote the script for that went on to write the Pirates of the Caribbean movie for Disney, and they just lifted a bunch of what they wrote, because you can see a ton of parallels between the Monkey Island games and the story of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. There's a bunch of stuff that they just kind of borrowed, but Monkey Island itself was originally inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Anyway, the way that this game works and all these adventure games is you're playing as this character, and you have all these options of things you can do. You can look at things, you can pick things up. You'll have an inventory that starts accumulating objects. You can open doors. You can talk to people. There's a lot of dialogue. So you approach a character, you start talking to them. You can find clues about what you need to do next, travel all over to these different locations. And then you're basically, like you said, it's an interactive story. It's not so much action oriented. So you might enjoy something like this.
Shooter, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. They call them graphic adventures.
And I'm like,
and it really is about puzzle solving, using items together and on other things to solve puzzles and talk to other characters and stuff like that. So imaginative.
I love his name. It was Threepwood, right?
Guybrush Threepwood is the protagonist. And these games, the Monkey Island games particularly, are so funny. They're comedy games, first and foremost, I would say. So many memorable lines of dialogue and little bits of action here and there that
I caught as well, Mike.
What's that?
The music really.
The music is so memorable. Yeah, fantastic music. And I think the reason it got such a big response on Twitter is there's this whole generation that grew up loving these games and spending so many hours playing them as I did. So looking forward to getting back into that. And I really hope that this means that they're at least investigating the possibility of continuing some of these other franchises as well. Sam and Max, I would love to see another game from that series. Any of them, Maniac Mansion. It would be great to see more of that stuff coming out of Lucasfilm games. It doesn't all have to be Star Wars all the time.
I'm hearing more and more that a lot of the entertainment dollars are more inclined to be towards these interactive experiences that, people like my son, who currently is 13, given the option of watch a movie or play a game, are opting for much more for play the game. And I'm excited to see kind of this franchise having a rebirth in the midst of that. Oh, there you go. Doobie wants to ask the very important question. Do you download games or do you prefer to purchase?
I honestly don't think I had ever downloaded a game until the pandemic, because there was a period at the beginning 2 years ago when we weren't even supposed to go out to the store. Like, we were putting on like the beekeeper suit to go to the store to go to get groceries or whatever. And if there was a video game I wanted to play, I would started downloading it on the Xbox. Previous to that, I always wanted the case and the disc, because I feel like downloading the file is so ephemeral or whatever. Like, it could just disappear any day. At least if I bought the case, I know where it is. I know I have it. I could always reinstall it or whatever. So yeah, I am kind of a ride or die physical media type guy.
Well, especially now when there was that moment in Mandalorian where you could see a crew member, and then a week later, oh nope, you don't see him anymore. If that was a physical, you still would see him. You still would know that moment happened.
Right.
He's like, I guess he was joking. It's okay. We'll answer for real. So let's see, Mike. So we've talked about how Star Wars Celebration is on the horizon. Recently, you were at the Halcyon and you were also at WonderCon. You've had a lot of Star Wars adventures. I'm assuming that Who's the Bossk has kept you busy as well. So let's let people know kind of what's going on with Who's the Bossk and your other Antiquities project.
Yeah, so if anybody's paying attention to Who's the Bossk, they know that I've taken a couple weeks off here since the Galactic Star Cruiser episode. But I will have a new episode next week. That's going to be number 99 of Who's the Bossk. And then number 100 is going to be released on May the 4th. So there's going to be one episode only in April, and that will be next week. I just lined up the guests for that, so I'm excited for that one. I'm not really saying what it is yet, but that'll come out, I think, aiming for Wednesday next week. And then you can wait another couple weeks. Let's see. Next Wednesday is the 13th, and it's 3 weeks until May the 4th. So April's kind of a breather month for me with the podcast, but the reason for that is I am doing this web series. The cover of Halcyon Legacy has Bossk on the cover. Yeah, that's true. The comic book number 5, I think, it's going to have Bossk on the cover. Super psyched. But I'm doing this web series about my characters' adventures on the Galactic Star Cruiser. So 2 parts are out already. There's going to be 5 total. Part 3 will come out a week from tomorrow. So I'm putting out a little teaser trailer tomorrow morning, and then we'll get the full part 3 in a week on, let's see, that's the 15th of April. And then part 4 will be released on April 30th via Disney Trivia Live, which I told Doobie a while ago that I wanted to stake out that date. I think he forgot.
That's all good. We'll remember
I think that
now.
comes together kind of last minute anyway, right? So stay tuned for more of Antiquities, a Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser story. There's still 3 more episodes of that coming out of 5 total. So if you're enjoying that, you've got more to look forward to.
And if you're just stopping by now, this is Star Wars Headlines, where we discuss the latest happenings within the universe of Star Wars right here on Laughing Place with our director of all things Star Wars, Mike Celestino. He's also the host of the Who's the Bossk podcast. This week, we discussed the announcements of Star Wars Celebration. We discussed the recently released LEGO Skywalker Saga, some Hasbro announcements. Lots of fun here. So sorry if you missed it. You can rewind, watch it, catch it. We're here each week. We put the links below so you can click on the stories and learn more about them. If you want to know beyond what the discussion was here, Doobie is still working on what this word is like distinguished, but starts with E. Mike Farnham has been enjoying how interactive the characters have been from the Star Cruiser with Lodico Fendon. That would be the antiquarian that Mike created as his persona for his adventure on board.
Ooh, a bullion. That's a good one.
That is a good one. Well, I guess with that, Mike, we talked about everything. Sam, I feel like I kind of am rushing through because I'm like so addicted to the Lego Skywalker Saga game. It's like my part of my brain is in that world still.
I spent the whole day today building this light kit for my Lego Star Wars Razor Crest. So we got sent a light kit for this to review from an independent company. It's not officially made by Lego, but it was one of the most difficult things I have ever done.
Wow.
It really frustrated me, but it looks very cool.
Does it look cool? The results are good. Okay.
It does. Okay. The parts of it that don't look cool are my fault. I will say that in my review. So that video will probably go up tomorrow.
Oh, very cool.
And then I was gonna say something else and I forgot it. Don't remember.
I was also vamping because I was trying to find that video. I'm still frustrated that somehow, some way I haven't even seen this video you're talking about, a droid parade. So
yeah, it's on Twitter somewhere.
So yeah, I know it is. I believe you. So Mike Farnham coming in still with more of the E words. Euphoric. No, that's not it either. So yeah. Okay, well, I am back to my Lego Skywalker Saga. I am going.
I searched Droid Parade on Twitter, and it was literally the first result.
Seriously? Okay. I was searching for the wrong language. There we go. Okay. Hang on. Let me do this. Thank you.
Sorry.
No.
I was like, let me see how tough.
I didn't think to type that in as a search phrase. That's just so bad. That's how much my brain is in Skywalker Saga right now. There you go. And let me see if I can get. There we go.
Hey, Dianoga.
You know what this makes me think, Mike?
What?
It makes me think that I wish there were more droids just wandering the Halcyon.
Yeah, or Batu.
That's like one of my only disappointments in all the footage that I've seen of the Halcyon. But I am a fan of kinetic art, so I love when a place has a lot of moving visuals. And I would love the idea of just I'm sitting in the lobby and like all of a sudden some droid is like, I can understand the challenge of having it be down there in the hallways with me because it's like getting people's way or all that. I got that, especially a mouse droid. But just the idea of sitting in the lobby and like all of a sudden some droid seems to be heading like from point A to point B, aside from the one that they do have one.
Yes, one.
But
I think there should be, in addition to the astromech, there should at least be one protocol droid walking around.
That too. I would love, and I just wonder I wonder if I have one, like these people, if one of these individuals, the droid builders, books do they let me bring my droid?
That's a very good question.
Am I allowed my droid on board? Because that'd be so much fun to be on board.
I mean, everything is wheelchair accessible, so there's no reason the droid can't roll around to all the public spaces.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's, if there's, it can, I know the little kids when they go to Batu and they come back, that's some of my favorite footage is when the kids are all playing with their droids in the atrium lobby after they've traveled to Batu and built them. I love those. I love those videos when that happens. But
well, we got some info from the Galaxy's Edge expert.
There you go. Mike says, I asked. They didn't say no. Okay. So now I'm thinking I need to start a gig business where I rent out a droid for you to take on board the Star Cruiser.
Are they still selling that one in Galaxy's Edge for $10,000? Is that still available?
I know there were some. It wasn't that inexpensive, was it? I thought I say that 10,000, but I mean, I feel like it was even more than that. So, oh wow. Okay, so Mike has a 18-inch Hero BB-8, and they said okay for their 18-inch. So there you go.
Now, if
So
I wanted to play a droid, if I wanted to
be a
wear
droid.
a metal casing over my entire body, I bet I could get away with that too.
Yeah, see, okay,
25,000.
Mike's with me. It was 25K. I was
Yeah.
like 10K. That seems too low.
That's nothing.
Yeah, come on.
That's barely a trip on the Halcyon itself.
Right? Oh man. Okay. Thank you for doing
Okay.
that search.
Oh,
And
I
then,
remembered the other thing I was gonna say. I'm reading a book.
ooh.
I don't know if I can say anything more than that, actually.
Okay. Okay, cool. So you're reading a book that we'll be discussing on
Yeah.
Star Wars headlines. Yay!
Yeah,
Okay,
but
cool.
but Doobie will be interested to know that I'm reading it digitally because I don't have they didn't send me a physical copy. It is a digital copy of a book that is coming out later,
What?
and I will have a review up later.
Is it hard? Is it harder for you to read? Some people do actually say that it is harder for them to stay focused and to retain information when they read something digitally versus on
Oh,
paper.
much harder for me. It takes
Yeah.
me probably 3 times longer to read a book digitally than if I had the paper. I'm like flipping like this. The digital file, I'm like 5 minutes on each page, like trying to
Wow.
absorb the information. I can't do it. I hate it.
That is so wild.
It's gotten to the point where Tori has offered to go and like print out at Kinko's, or Kinko's doesn't exist anymore, FedEx office or
Yeah,
whatever.
but
And I'm like, that's probably illegal because I don't,
right.
this is
Yeah,
like,
I gotcha.
yeah.
Oh, poor Mike. The trials and tribulations of a book reviewer.
Yeah.
See, I read everything. Everything is digital for me now. I try as much as possible to reduce the amount of physical items in my life.
I feel like just like reading a book is one of the very few things I have left in my life that doesn't involve me looking at a screen. And I just wish it would stay that way.
Wow. See, whereas I am at the point where I just want to take pictures of these and then get rid of them. Like, because I like having.
What are those?
I have buttons. I have pages
Oh.
and pages of buttons that I've been
So
collecting over the years.
you want them to be NFTs?
Yes, and so I just want to transfer all of my buttons and all of my pins to just be like NFTs. So I don't have this stuff anymore. See, I got all these like pins all over the place. So, yeah.
You and I are very different people.
So, yeah.
To me, something doesn't really exist unless it's physical.
Yeah, I used to think that, and then I discovered that I have this lunchbox filled with coins. And I'm like, no, Rebekah, it needs to stop. So people are like, what are you guys talking about? See, it's just all these pressed pennies. And so I'm like, just take pictures of them and then I'm fine. So I can just look at the visual someday. And it's really nice.
I always think about 100 years from now, your grandkids are going to be looking through your stuff or whatever. 100, I don't know, 100. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And if they find a digital file, it'll have deteriorated. They probably won't be able to access it. But those pressed pennies are always going to exist in that form.
That is true. There are large portions of the digital content I created that simply ceased existing at some point because the program that supported it disappeared. Yeah. So yes, no, you're not incorrect in your assessment.
Mike very accurately pointed out that our backgrounds represent our individual outlook on collecting nonsense.
In fairness, my foreground looks a lot more like Mike. So yeah, I just don't have it on screen. So I think this is my dream world here. This background. Okay. Oh, let's see. Well, thank you, Mike, for your thank you, Mike Farnham.
Nightbot. I think I met him last night. Oh, that was Mr. Knight.
Oh, was that fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
Which one do you like more, the initial or the?
No, this one was way better.
Okay.
the Moon Knight thing, he just like stood on the roof and looked down. It was cool that his eyes were glowing, but Mr. Knight, you can actually talk to him and have a conversation.
Oh, very nice. I haven't looked yet because I haven't seen the show yet.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm worried like how much spoilery
No,
stuff.
this is definitely a spoiler.
If I, pay too much attention to our tweets about it. So, okay, well, that's it from us here at Star Wars Headlines. Thank you so much for joining us. Mike will be back next week. I'm not sure whether it'll be me or another co-host because I'm going to be traveling. So, but Star Wars Headlines will be here on Laughing Place. If you want to stay on top of all things Star Wars, be sure to follow us on Twitter. That's laughing_place. Or you can follow Mike, his Who's the Bossk Pod Twitter account. You see it right there by his name underneath his smiling face. Thanks as always, Mike. I'll see you real soon. Bye.